Okay, you ready, Shelby? Okay. All right, get started. At Clackamas Fire, we're always here for you. We value our people and the people we serve. Our focus is on establishing teams, trust, empowerment, accountability, mindset, and service. If you're attending the meeting, do you guys sign in on the sheet up there at some point? And if you're attending on person up there, so that we can make sure that you get on the minutes. I'm going to call the meeting to order now for ORS 192.610 to 192.705 and to ORS 192.650. This meeting is being recorded. The recording of this meeting will be made available on the Clackamas Fire website. All right, can I get everybody to stand up? Pledge of Allegiance, please. The pledge of allegiance is the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Chief Brown's not going to be with us tonight, and neither is Director Joseph. So, Chief Dieters, any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. President. R1A will be from me, and I will do R1B at the same time and wrap it up in the same thing. And then R1C is no report.
I gotta find R's here. Okay. And R1C, we're not doing it.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. All right, everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Any changes that we need to make? Okay. Since there's no changes, the minutes stand as written. Who's through the agenda already? Public comment. Shelby, anybody? Anybody online? Okay. Do they want to make a comment? No? What?
Yes, if they want to raise their hand online.
Okay. If you're online and wish to comment, please use the raise your hand button. Okay. Anybody else want to make a comment that's here that didn't sign in? Okay. Okay, we're down to Operation Santa Claus. Ryan.
All right, thank you, President Cross, members of the board. Good evening. Thanks for this opportunity to share about Operation Santa and recap 2025 for you and our involvement. I'm presenting on behalf of Chief Whiteley today, who's unavailable to present because he's in the happiest place on earth.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. So Operation Santa started in 1974, making this roughly our 51st, 52nd season, depending upon how you're counting it up, of spreading cheer and creating an opportunity for the community to come together and support those in need. Over the years, Operation Santa has changed and morphed significantly, and its impact on the community has begun to expand. In its most current form, it's been operating the last 5 years. We've been doing 5 community parades. We do a parade and try and spread it out over the geographic region of the district in Clackamas, the Clackamas area here, up towards Happy Valley, Oregon City, Happy Valley proper, Milwaukee, and Sandy. Over the years, we've transitioned, and maybe some of you remember the times when we used to collect on the parade routes. We've transitioned away from that and begun using the parades as an advertisement to push people towards static drop-off locations in the community, kind of a regional day where everybody can come out. And we did 5 community drive-through drop-off events, and they usually follow the parade 1 or 2 days afterwards. And we did Oregon City Hilltop Mall, Happy Valley City Hall, which coincides with their festival when they light the Christmas tree there at City Hall. We did one at Sandy Fire Station. That same day, we moved the one that we used to do at Station 14, which used to be kind of an underperformer, to Chief Whiteley built a great relationship with the Damascus Safeway. And we're out there on Highway 212 across from the old Damascus Fire Station. And that seemed to be a great location, a lot of drive-by traffic, and a lot of people actually just coming out of the store with their shopping carts and dropping off donations for us. And then the last one we do is probably our biggest one, and it's at City of Milwaukee, kind of the farmers market down there on McLaughlin and Harrison, that flat parking lot. Over the years, we looked for ways to expand the influence and the reach of Operation Santa, and we realized that we weren't the best at warehousing and sorting and distributing toys. So we began to look for ways to partner with people who did that way better than us. And this year we had 5 strategic partners. We partnered with Blooming Boutique out of Oregon City, the Clackamas Service Center, who gets a good chunk of our donations, the Amen Group, who focuses on military veterans, Gladstone High School, and Sandy Kiwanis. And we support their outreach options by taking the food donations and the toy donations that we receive at the drop-off locations and dropping them off at their warehouses so they can sort and distribute through their network, which seems to have expanded our reach and made us able to focus solely on collecting the donations, which is great. So some highlights for 2025. One of the things that Chief Whiteley worked on was some strategic initiatives. How do we collect more toys without adding more events? How do we collect more donations? And he partnered with some of our community partners, City of Happy Valley, City of Milwaukee, to create static locations. So if they missed a donation drop off in their region, they can just go to the city and drop off in barrels, and then we'll swing by and pick it up later. And that proved to be very, very well. He also was successful in working with the PIO team in creating some fun videos. If you see on the right-hand side of the slide, there's a video that popped up on social media. I think you probably find it on our Facebook page if you scroll back. Kind of a fun Santa Claus video getting ready for Operation Santa. And then Milwaukee Police, they're pretty creative as well, wanted to participate in that and gave us some earned publicity for our events there. We also had an amazing support group from the command and general staff at every parade and every drop-off event, as well as board members. We had people there supporting the event and just connecting with the community, which was an awesome and fun thing to say. As an organization, we received some recognition publicly, and this manifested itself in being on 2 different parades and the news crews being out filming us on 2 separate parades, 2 separate channels. So you could see that the PIO team through social media and their contacts were really pushing the organization's events, and it gave us some earned media, which is kind of awesome in my eyes. So here's the big one. Next slide. Totals for this year, 10,000 pounds of food collected, 49 barrels. And you can see we have the barrels there, and we just kind of take an average weight of the barrels. And then we collected 7,030 toys, which is amazing. You're thinking, well, how amazing is that, Ryan? Mm-hmm. Well, if you go back to last year, because you were thinking that, how's that compare to when Steve used to do this?
This was a single parade.
Come on now. So 2024, we collected just under 8,800 pounds of food, about 44 barrels. So food donations were up, and toys, we collected 5,600 toys, and we're up about 1,500 toys this year. So amazing. I think the increased media, increased participation by our community partners helped tremendously, and then those static drop-off locations were great. Chief Whiteley and I have already begun planning some tweaks for next year to try and increase the reach of Operation Santa. We've met once already to talk about how we can make it better. And then the thank yous to everyone involved. You can see here just some pictures that take place at Gladstone High School. Johnson City, that was a great one. When we used to hit all the parade routes, all the older parade routes, and collect on, we'd go down to Johnson City, which is a manufactured home park in Milwaukee, and Santa would actually get off Old Red and go in and have kids come in and stuff. It was a crazy time. But Johnson City, even though we're not driving through there anymore, they wanted to participate because it meant so much to the residents. And that's what the top picture on the right is. And then you see the community services division staff. They're kind of the backbone that kind of make this thing run during the week when everybody else is busy doing their other jobs. These are the ones that are kind of logistically moving stuff around in the background. And then, of course, without the volunteers and the explorers, this would be impossible. Those guys are doing the lion's share of the work on this event, and if they didn't show up to participate, I don't think it would be a success. That concludes the report. If you have any questions, I'll take them at this time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
I had fun.
Yeah,
Got to ride along again and got to go to a Happy Valley tree lighting and thank the volunteers. They had a lot of people smile in their direction.
that's good. That's good. It's a fun time.
And he does a one-note jingle bells like you couldn't believe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Pass on our congratulations of another great year.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone.
Morgan, talked about some flooding in December.
Go up real slow to time this video that we prepared to read.
So it's kind of stuck, except for myself too. Try that one. He's sticky. Really sure.
Thinking a joke.
Movies, huh?
Movies. Good evening, President Cross, members of the board. My name is Morgan West. I'm the district's community resilience officer. I'm going to talk to you about this Washington flooding that we deployed some folks to, as well as give a brief summary of the operations conducted in district upon their return. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm just going to kind of talk along with this. There's no sound unless you like wind noise here on the boat, but you'll remember that last month in mid-December, Washington State experienced severe widespread flooding driven by an atmospheric river that inundated multiple communities. In response to an urgent request from the Washington Emergency Management Division, the state of Oregon activated interstate mutual aid support through the Emergency Management Assistance Compact, or EMAC. This resulted in the first ever EMAC deployment of a swiftwater flood search and rescue team from the state of Oregon, Clackamas Fire water rescue team. The video that you're seeing here is all filmed by water rescue team members on assignment on that EMAC deployment. After the EMAC request came in and we as an agency accepted that mission, we sent a 6-member water rescue team from quarters on December 12th to a mission assignment in the state of Washington. Our team deployed to the Skagit Valley. Some of you may be familiar with this area, to the north of Seattle, where flood impacts were most severe. Upon arrival, the team integrated seamlessly with rescue resources from across the West Coast. Their mission was to conduct life safety operations, perform area surveys, stand ready for emergent rescues, and strengthen situational awareness for local and state incident leadership. The team remained for 7 days, and throughout the assignment, Clackamas Fire members were commended by the incident commander and members of state government for professionalism, initiative, and leadership. Although the incident had transitioned upon the team's arrival from rescue to recovery, and I don't mean recovery of remains, but rather just a large-scale disaster recovery, the team remained operationally engaged, conducting specialized drills and training sessions to their water rescue colleagues, enhancing the skills of these other deployed responders. Their performance was noted throughout Washington's chain of command, as I described, including a really kind social media post from the governor of the state of Washington, Bob Burns. After completing the mission in Washington State, kind of timing this wrong because the video will transition, but the water rescue team returned home just as we were experiencing intensified flooding here in Clackamas County. The same boats and equipment used in Washington supported multiple rescues during the flooding response operations here at home and underscored the value of our interoperable water rescue consortium agreement. In addition to these grant-funded vessels that we deployed, we used grant-funded unmanned aerial systems or drones, as well as leveraged for the first time operationally in our organization, the state-funded paging system called Everbridge, which we use to conduct callbacks of personnel with specialized training. It's my view that Clackamas Fire's deployment represents a landmark moment for regional and interstate mutual aid. This deployment showcased the district's operational excellence, advanced training, and collaborative spirit, while reinforcing Oregon's commitment to supporting neighbors during large-scale disasters. The deployment strengthened interstate relationships, validated the EMAC process, and demonstrated that Clackamas Fire can rapidly project high-quality rescue capabilities wherever they are needed most. During this incident, the emergency services chiefs ensured diligently that water rescue capability locally was not degraded. I'm talking about the Washington State deployment. We retained fully qualified personnel as well as a full complement of water rescue equipment within the district for the duration that these resources were out of district. And it's important to highlight for everybody in the room that this deployment, as all EMAC deployments are, was the subject of a cost-sharing agreement. Our finance professionals are submitting a reimbursement package to the state of Washington, and we'll expect to see that cost recovery in the future. It can sometimes take a very long time. But before we send any of these personnel down the road to the state of Washington, we did have a signed agreement from the state to cover all of our costs. If this process sounds familiar to you, it's because it's virtually identical to the administrative mechanisms that we use to deploy Crew 30. I think that it's very important to highlight that without the front-end preparation done by our wildland division and the administrative preparation for how we prepare these EMAC, like RFAs, this deployment couldn't have happened. I think it's important to highlight that without the professional training and experience that's developed by our operations chiefs, the water rescue team personnel themselves, this deployment could not have happened. If it weren't for members of Mark's team, Michael Wong, Haley Holst, and of course, Bill Bischoff, this deployment could not have happened. So, and bragging about our own agency too tonight, but I think it's worth it. This is the first time the state of Oregon has ever deployed a team like this. We accepted the mission 3 minutes after I received the initial phone call, and these folks really distinguished themselves, as you can see here. So we'll let this run out to the end, but pretty impressive deployment and then in-district operations. So I'm happy to try to answer any questions that I have.
How many people from the 304th did we have with us?
Oh yeah, it's a great question. So just to back up and talk the task level, as we were building out the response needs for our in-district flame, we determined that we needed an additional water rescue team on hand to serve essentially as a rapid intervention team, RIT, for our own personnel. Because our mutual aid channels were somewhat limited, given the Water Rescue Consortium was all fully engaged in this, we contacted the 304th Rescue Squadron, which is the United States Air Force Reserve Unit out of Pang, the south side of Portland Airport. And he deployed 10 people to assist us with this. So this is a Air Force Special Operations Command unit, very well funded, I would say. And he showed up with jet skis and people and radios and boats and all sorts of kind of neat toys, and a really, really highly refined skill set. This is one of these things where when they showed up, for me personally, at around 8 p.m., I was thinking to myself, man, we really bought in a lot here and they might not get any work at all. And they were up all night rescuing people from their homes. We saw a truck rescue, which also made the news, where a family of 5 was rescued from a flooded truck. So really great operational effort, administrative one, as I described, the PIO, the public outreach during the deployment and the flooding here locally was fantastic and resulted in really good exposure for the whole team. So it was a really long way of saying 10. Thanks.
Thank you, Lord. That's
Good
wonderful.
job.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Great. Okay. All right, business items. Annual meeting of the Clackamas Emergency Service Foundation request for approval of the budget 2026. Ron, you can do that.
Okay, members of the board, you all know me. This is Ron Gladney, he's treasurer of our foundation. He's going to do the presentation. I'm here as a moral backup to him and answer questions you might have. You might have not had these.
Thanks, Jim.
Good evening, first time here, and it's good to be here. I'm a retired hotel manager, ran the Benson for 17 years, in case you didn't know me. And been working for 40 years in hospitality and just recently retired and reside in Oregon City now. So happy to be here. As Jerry mentioned, I'm the secretary, treasurer, board trustee, and all the marketing chair for the Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation. On behalf of the foundation, want to present the 2026 budget for you. So you should have received this in your packet, but this does a high level look at it. You know, we did bring back the dinner auction this year. A couple reasons for that: community awareness. This has been a good event for us to reach, you know, let the community know what we've been doing, recognize those that have contributed, and also some of our scholarship recipients. And so we're pretty excited about having this back. It's going to be a September event, so it gives us some time. We're just sending out RFPs right now to see who can help us, you know, with the dinner auction itself. We usually go through that process. So that's a big part of the increase in the funding side of it. The other part of it is our website. We've redesigned through the help of Dave Dornick with our website. We have a new video that we're creating to put on the website that's going to help us increase our exposure not only to employees for payroll contributions, but also to businesses. So we're looking at a new funding source for reaching out to businesses and try to get some. So we're pretty excited about that. We're also looking to grow our trustee board from 12 to 20. That's our goal this year. And so we'll have some additional efforts. We're very active meeting and trying to get some, you know, some funding for this organization. One of the things that we just watched was we got requests for flood victims. So this is important to us. Is we use this funding to go out and try to support those that have, you know, had this this unfortunate issue. So you see the increase there, 124,000. Look at our spending. We don't want to keep anything. We want to spend it all and try to help out with the community. So we got 124,000 at the bottom to try to spend it. We may not, but our goal is, you know, whatever we bring in is what we're going to spend. And we also have a nice reserve account in Merrill Lynch of 511,000 and a checking of 9,000. So we're very healthy. And if everything goes well, we'll be able to increase that this year. So that's our 2026 budget. Jerry, did I miss anything?
No, I would like us to point out that the recent floods that we just saw a very intelligent and thoughtful, knowledgeable presentation on. The foundation's also been involved in assisting residents in recovery from that. I've been out to 4 sites that probably are going to total. I'm not a contractor anymore, but probably will total when contractors are finished somewhere in the vicinity of $100,000. So we are working in conjunction with other similar agencies, but we're getting tapped heavily. I just want to point that out. The money that you see is not dormant. It's going somewhere. One gentleman in Oregon City is 50 feet of the driveway that's in the river, and his best means of transportation is walking 3/4 of a mile through brush, and he gets nowhere because he has no car, which is down the bottom of that hill.
So we just had a recent meeting. You know, you just had a couple of presentations. One was Operation Santa. We're a big part of Operation Santa. We definitely support that. The other one is the flood. We're a big part of that. One of our board trustees just donated some cords of wood for one of the fire victims. So this is how we get involved. This is what we do, and we appreciate your support, and we hope that you will vote to adopt our 2026 budget. Any questions?
Questions for Ron?
Thank you very much.
Okay, do I hear a motion from the board to approve the Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation 2026 budget?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Shall we please call the roll?
Jake,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Chief Dieters.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. The next item up is the annexation request from Sandy Fire District, the support of that. Included in this, the staff report is a copy of the resolution 25-03. And on December 17th, the Sandy board voted to refer back to the voters after a failed attempt in November, the question of annexation to Clackamas Fire again, which now it comes to you guys to see if you will accept their request, and we move forward from there. Happy to answer any questions.
Is this going to happen in May, or are they going to push it back to November?
May is what the target is right now. Right, and I assume you're talking about some of the developments with the gas. Yes, we're watching that very closely.
Okay. All right, cool. Any questions for Chief Dieters? Or any of the interagency folks?
I have a comment. Not often you get a second chance at something. And we have the second chance to deal with Sandy. And I spoke with Chief Dieters before the meeting, and even though the resolution does indicate that they want a waiver of the levy charges, it is his understanding and mine as well, that they don't expect to pay the levy. And I remain, and of course, this is the same for Gladstone too, but Gladstone is done. And is that it is patently unfair, and there is no rationalization that you can make to say that our taxpayers have to pay the 52 cents and the Sandys don't. And I can't do that. $1.228 million is the cost to this district from the lost levy money to bring in Sandy in terms. And I think it should go back to Sandy, and they should agree to pay what our taxpayers pay. If they want to come in, they want to be part of the district, then they need to pay like everybody else does. So I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Do I hear a motion for the board to approve the Sandy Fire District request for annexation into Clackamas Fire?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Motion and second. Shall we call the roll?
Jake,
Yes.
Aaron,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, business items. Let's see, what do we have? Let's start with EMS. The big thing for EMS that the board needs to know is that on 6 o'clock on Wednesday morning, Clackamas Fire will not be responding to alpha calls, which means we will not be responding to the low acuity code 1 responses, the minor medical calls. AMR will be responding to those calls, but this is part of the pilot project that our EMS division is putting together. The chiefs in that division have been working on this. They foresee this saving about 5,000 calls a year, about 15 to 18 calls per day that we will not be responding on. At least we will not be tapped on. It doesn't mean that it can't get upgraded or AMR can call for us if they need us, but that is a pilot project that we put in place to once again to send the right unit at the right time to the right patient. And this is something that Chief Bauer has been working on for quite a while now to get in place, to do that. So, obviously, all of the players have been involved in the conversation, Gladstone, Sandy, of course, BOAC, AMR, everybody knows, everybody informed, everybody's, supportive of it, and, the switch happens on, 6 o'clock on Wednesday morning for that to happen. Did I pretty much get it right, chiefs?
Mhm.
So, questions that I might be able to answer on that? Obviously, the other part of this, there's a metrics, a fairly elaborate metrics to make sure that the citizens of our fire district are getting the proper care. And that they're not, people aren't getting, if there's mistakes made, or if there's dispatching errors to be made, there's several different venues of taking a look at those specific incidents to make sure that if there was a mistake made by triage or something like that, that gets corrected. So, but this is just the ongoing thing of making sure that we're sending the right resources at the right time. So, yeah,
Is that just gonna be kind of one day test?
no, it's going for
Going forward.
It's going forward. It's starting on Wednesday. And it's a pilot project that should be going on for, how long is it set for? I could look at the document, but
I don't recall the exact term, but again, it's gonna be a set of alpha calls. And it'll be closely monitored and reviewed, but the intent is that it would be an ongoing piece if it's proven to be successful.
let's see, the document actually says on the end date. I don't see an end date in the documentation. It just says the start date, which is 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. So, okay. Okay, that's EMS. Let's see. Executive committee, big thing on the executive committee, Brian and I met before this meeting. And we have our board work session on strategic planning is on February 3rd at starting at 8 o'clock at Station 5. They're going to be, the academy is starting here on the 2nd, so we don't want to be here because we're going to have a bunch of activity here. So it's not here. We're going to be over at Station 5 starting at 8 o'clock. So hopefully all board members can be there, and all the other folks that have been invited will hopefully be there. And it's obviously a public meeting, so we may have some people that show up too that weren't necessarily invited, but are certainly welcome. Anything else on that, Brian?
To be a full day, we'll provide lunch to all attendees. You know, and you have the opportunity over the next week or so, think about what's important to you as policymakers. Think about what you want to bring to us to give, you know, your concepts and direction to staff as we collaboratively work to develop our next strategic plan for through 29, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will there be sprinkles on the donuts?
If you would like those.
I always like sprinkles.
How many donut shops you got to pass on the way to 5?
Never count, but I should.
All right. Jim and Chris, what are you gonna tell us about interagency committee?
Interagency out there, we've met, talked to him several times going forward. Tomorrow we have a meeting with the reporter out there for one of the Sandy news outlets. So we're gonna go talk to them. Other than that, I don't think there's anything.
No, Chris mentioned we've met with the Sandy directors several times, as they voted affirmatively to refer it, and now here tonight, sounds like we're voting, moving on. Their directors, they have a lot of reasons, which I agree with all of them, why they would like to go out for the election again. It was a close vote. This one will be free of the school district issue that generated a lot of negative publicity, and really, they felt and we agreed that there really wasn't an organized campaign last time. And should we move forward, which it sounds like we will now, we plan on giving it everything we've got. Firefighters, the volunteers, us creating a pack again, participating, their directors. So there's a lot we feel we can do this time. And So, I'm excited. They seem very excited. So for a lot of reasons, I think, I'm glad to see it moving forward, but one of their directors said his number one reason was he wants to protect this partnership, and I totally agree. So, I'm excited to see it move forward.
Thank you, Jim. All right, any questions from anybody on any of that? Let's see, one other update on board informational updates that I'm gonna throw out. We had our OFDDA first meeting of the year on Saturday. We talked about the conference and about other stuff, but something that impacts me and hopefully us, is I have been asked to be part of the Oregon State Fire Marshal's Fire Service Safety Committee. Their fire marshal's office is starting up a new, well, I shouldn't say starting it up, they've been doing it for a while, for firefighter health, specifically cancer behavioral health, some cancer stuff, behavioral health, and some other things. And so the members of the OFDDA thought that I would be a fit for that. So I'm going to be doing that with the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office. So not sure where that's going to go because I just got asked to do it on Saturday, but I talked to Brian about it a few minutes ago, and it sounds like he already knew the players down there. So it sounds like it's going to be I don't know, good thing, I guess. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, informational items. Chief Dieters.
Oh, we had the alternate funding.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That kind of the only update is we're gonna shoot for a meeting sometime next month. We kind of have the holidays, so for the alternate funding task force, whatever we're gonna decide to call it, we're gonna try and get a meeting put together sometime next month and start looking at the future. The other one, the civil service, they approved the captain's list, and I think that was about it.
And then
There was
a public educator process.
Yeah, public educator process. Yeah, so we approved the captain's list. What do you want, an underperforming candidate who put up rookie numbers? We'll try to do better in the future. That's all I have.
Can you talk about personnel matters in oh, all right. Thanks, Chris. All right, we'll move on to informational items. Chief Dieters.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Mostly, it kind of focuses around Operation Santa, as we've heard, and I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more. But we also did host a 2-day Struggle Well class for mental health wellness, and which Brian has talked about before and been very involved with that. And then we just talked about the Sandy annexation, and they approved the resolution in December. And then you can see that there's a ton of pictures of some of the events that had come through for that. And then you'll notice there's also the year-end report that's coming up. More data, more things. Hope you like the layout with some of the photos. It's kind of nifty. You guys did a great job putting together. A couple of things to highlight. Apparatus responses, 43,902. That is not calls for service, but that's, multiple apparatus leaving and going out at the same time on, maybe 2 apparatus on the same call, but still a lot of times going out the door for our crews. And then another thing to talk about is, we often talk about the property loss. This has the property saved, 93 million. That's just the assessed value. It doesn't include the room and contents or any of the personal belongings or anything. And it's probably a low guess anyway, but just kind of shows some of the things that our crews are able to do by saving some of the property and putting a dollar value on it. And then you can see the concurrent calls. Kind of interesting how many times there's 2 or more calls happening at the same time, or all the way down to 5 calls happening at the same time. And I'm happy to answer any questions before I turn over a little bit of time to Chris Edmonds. Yes.
I like the new layout. It's colorful and it looks nice, but the one area that is missing that has always been part of that is that mutual aid report year to date. And it would be nice, at least to me, that's an important part of this, and it would be nice to have that remaining to be part of the report. It's always been. I like seeing that.
Yeah.
Mutual aid.
I agree, Jim. I agree.
Okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Is it not included in the draft page there?
It's not in there.
No, okay, yeah, we can get that for sure.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. But the rest of it looks good. Nice.
Go ahead, Ro.
So it states the annual median turnout time is 120, that's for the year. And median means 50% or above that, 50% or below that, so it really doesn't tell me anything about how we are responding. Are there some more definite statistics somewhere that say how are we really doing?
Yes, those are available. I can work with you on what it is you guys would like to see instead of the median. How would you like it?
Yeah.
Because it normally, well, yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes,
Well,
absolutely.
There's a couple of ways to do it. One is time of day. You can break it into quarters like 7 a.m. to 11, 11 to 3, or 3 to 7 kind of a thing. You can break it up like that so that you can get a definitive between nighttime hours and daytime hours. You just also can do it for type of calls where they have to put their turnouts on versus calls where they don't have to put their turnouts on, which is another metrics that you can look at. So it really kind of decide what you're actually looking for on that data too. So
And if I may, we have all that data.
right.
I think this was an effort to provide a good overview
Mhm.
of where we're at. We can't encapsulate all the data that our team use on a regular basis, the 2-page piece. So I think we're happy to provide whatever is beneficial to you or to supplement that with additional information. But to your point, there's a lot of different ways of looking at things. The time standard for EMS versus a turnout response, whether it's vehicle electrification or structure fires, are different. As is the 90th percentile, which I know the board is accustomed to seeing in terms of performance as well. So,
Yep.
But as Chief Dieter shared, we're happy to work with the board and refine what's presented to you.
Yeah, that would be great if you work with Marilyn on that to get that information. It would be great. So, okay.
I think Chris might have some.
Yeah, go ahead. Mr. Edmonds.
Chief Leaders, I do believe that I'm under item B this week. Would you like me to proceed? I can just
Yeah,
go ahead.
if you
All right.
could.
Yeah, if we want to go ahead and flip ahead to page 24 of your packet, you'll see that similarly, we've redesigned the public affairs and engagement social media presentation. We can work with you to align these to your interests. So happy to take feedback on this. I do want to give a quick shout out on the rebranding work of how this is being presented to both my colleague Shelby and Lindsay Hendren and the information and public affairs team. Under the top Facebook posts that we had in December, I think it's really helpful to note that our top performing Facebook post in terms of views and engagement was related to backyard burning. And that tells us something really important, right? People are coming to our social media page for critical information, and we never need to lose that. Amidst, all of the content about the good work that's being done here, we do want to make sure that we maintain an accessible resource to the community. The next top performing post on Facebook was a video similar to the one that you just saw from Chief West. Similar story on Instagram, where kind of more impactful visuals tend to get more eyeballs. It was that same story on the rescue, as well as a response to a house fire on Cherry Avenue. Both of those performed really well. If you look over to the next page under community comments, we got a very large number of comments across the board related to both the excellent work of our water rescue teams and all of our crews who were working on the night of the flooding here, as well as very positive community responses from the water rescue team's deployment to Skagit County. I want to note that one of those responses came from the governor of the state of Washington, Governor Ferguson, who shared our post and specifically thanked our water rescue team and their neighbors in Oregon for coming to their aid in the time of need. I thought that was pretty neat. You'll see that we continue to grow in followers. Views are down a little bit. this month, and it's something we're just going to watch on a trend line, as well as reactions, just slightly down. But we're continuing to see net follower growth, both on Facebook and on Instagram, where it's growing even faster. And then we've also prepared a snippet, like we typically do, of the news coverage that has come out. One of the challenges that we're having now is that the local news media is following our Facebook page so closely that they're covering us more frequently. And so we're having a harder time of actually distilling these reports down for you. And that's a really positive thing in our view. So I'm happy to take any questions that you have. Thanks.
Yeah, no kidding. That's awesome, Chris. That is awesome. Okay, looks like we're down to Chief Whitaker for Financial Services.
Great. Good evening. The finance report for this month begins on page 18 of your packet. We are halfway through the fiscal year, so a good time to check up on things. A few things I would highlight on the first page of the finance report. In the upper right corner, there's a graph of general fund total revenue. And what stands out to me there is that our revenue so far of this fiscal year is pretty close to where we were last year. Forecast that out for the full year, we're actually probably going to collect less revenue this fiscal year than we did last fiscal year. A large piece of that is 24-25 was a big wildfire deployment year. So we brought in over $3 million from both California and OSFM as reimbursement for that, whereas this year we're only bringing about $1 million in revenue from the wildland deployments. We already talked about is our ending of ambulance transport. So we're seeing a big drop off in our EMS ambulance transport revenues. So those two things combined will lead to probably slightly less revenue this year than last year. That our budget is still fairly balanced for this year. All that has been built in through the budget, but just an interesting tidbit to think about. Revenue actually kind of declining on a one-time basis. On a similar note, I would highlight on the second page on the bottom, we track our total fund balance over time. And what you see in that chart is over the last few years, our fund balance has been growing compared to prior year. And largely that's due to the levy. As we brought in additional funds and set them aside for capital replacement, that balance has been building. And then what you see in December is for the first time in December 2025, our balance is actually lower than it was the prior December. And what that reflects is we've kind of reached the peak where we set aside a lot of money for capital. We built up that balance, and now we're starting to spend it, right? So we bought an engine for $1 million. We paid for this remodel. We're paying on the training house remodel and the Station 12 remodel. So that balance is starting to decline a little bit. Again, not a bad thing, just an observation that we were building that balance up to make some investments and purchases, and that's going to start to decline. The other big thing that why it actually dropped in December is we made that $1.6 million prepayment to PERS from the employer incentive fund, and so that is now set up in a side account to lower our rates. So those are some expenditures that have done that. And then the last thing I would note, which I mentioned last time, just on the last page of the finance report on page 23 is the investment report. And I mentioned last time we reached our limit of how much funds we could hold in the local government investment pool. And so we went out and bought some short-term treasuries, some that will mature in March and others in June. Not a great interest rate. The LGIP lowered their rates a couple of weeks ago. They're now down to, I think, 4.15%. But we weren't going to get that in the treasury market. But it was kind of the safest place to put those excess funds. So that's what we did. And I think that's all from my report tonight, unless there's any questions.
Okay, great. Good. Thank you, Lord. Okay. Strategic Services, Chief Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Well, you're going to see a great presentation from Community Resource Resilience Officer West on the flooding from last month, which was certainly a notable event, not just externally, but internally. I think we've talked about the work that he and the whole Clackamas team have done to be prepared for incidents. We did end up standing up our incident management team for a period of time for the local floods, which in addition to the other work being done is just a great testament to I think the way that Clackamas Fire addressed the 2020 wildfires and the AAR after that, and taking the lessons learned from one event and really responding to that and building depth and capacity and capability in our organization to face a myriad of natural hazards and other disasters. So kudos to him and the whole team on those efforts. Again, a lot of his work is ongoing and is really relationship driven, which if you think about when he gets the call from the governor's office about this or OEM about that, or he's able to pick up the phone and call the National Guard to get resources, he's out there doing the good work at the district and for our people. A couple things this last month from technology services. One of the things that I'm sorry, I'm missing a name offhand. Chris Nelson did as part of the IMT development piece was come up with a PACE model for communications out of this being our emergency operations center. So PACE model is a primary alternative contingency and emergency plan. We use them in wildfire, we use them in other plans about what happens at X, Y, Z. So he took the opportunity to review what we did in the IMT exercise in October and building off of that in December to look at alternative plans, one of which would utilize FirstNet, which is the cellular provider or the public safety broadband capacity to bring satellite connectivity to generate cellular signals or satellite signals for us, or Wi-Fi signals, excuse me, for us to be able to continue operations should we lose any of the redundant systems that we already have within this facility. So we had a drill with that a few weeks ago, which was not just us with FirstNet, but included a number of regional partners. Scappoose came over with some of their capacities. Department of Human Services came through. We had other local agencies participate. And not only did we get to demonstrate and test the technology, again, we built the relationships and it makes it easier to make that call. It makes it easier to understand when those are available. And I think you will see us pull the trigger on those on much more quickly because we'd much rather have the capacity here should something change. If we don't need it, it can always go someplace else if it's needed, but we want to see it here on the ground if we can. Beyond that, last month we also kind of moved into some of the more state stuff. The convening of the fire service, which you folks received a copy of last year. So June of 24, the fire service convened with about 30 fire service professionals from all partner agencies and came up with a list of state priorities or fire service priorities and then legislative and non-legislative recommendations. Those included, the priority areas included increased call volume, emergency medical services, workforce challenges, wildfire, regulations, and funding. And with those, this past December, we met again to revalidate those and see if those are still contemporary, see if those are still, see what has been completed in terms of recommendations, what recommendations may need to change. So again, about 30 people met to review those in mid-December, and all of them were affirmed. So the challenges that you folks may see here are consistent with those across the state. The one piece that I would say, while we made some tweaks to some details, the piece that was highlighted in this last December's discussion was really around ambulance deserts and the challenges with staffing, with reimbursement rates, with hospitals closing, all those pieces that affect ambulances. And so there's going to be a lot more work being done to explore that with some partners. And there is a interesting bill. There was a presentation back in November on EMS as the third branch of public safety that was presented to the Senate Veterans Military Affairs Committee. And I know that is coming back in a committee bill this time to look at. So fire, law enforcement, and public safety, and then EMS. It'll be interesting to watch and engage with that process. Out of the funding piece from the convening, there was a bill that came out as and a couple other pieces. Senate Bill 454, which is on rural fire protection district funding. That work group kicked off in December. And so we have through August, monthly meetings and work in between. So Chief Brian Smith from Tuolumne Valley and myself are co-chairing that committee. Again, representatives from across the state from various types of organizations, sizes of organizations will be participating to review the services that the Oregon Fire Service provides, what our funding opportunities and authorities are, as well as those items that restrict or limit our ability to collect those funds. Additionally, we'll be looking outside of our state to see what other states are doing to fund their fire and emergency medical services. More locally, CCOM. So CCOM appointed a new executive director. So CCOM's a key partner for us. The dispatch center or the county promoted Tony Connell, who had been the operations director for a period of time, to fill the executive director position. He'll fill that position for the year. He was already at retirement, so he's extending to make sure that there's a good transition to a new leadership. And in the summer, the county will begin recruitment for that new executive director position. And then the city of Gladstone, we are continuing to work on transition. You can expect to see either in February or March, maybe one or two pieces coming to you, including a concurrent resolution. And then depending on how we proceed with transferring some of those sole use items that we've been using, those types of things for us and facility lease agreements. So you can expect to see those in the next few months. And with that, I'll go ahead and end my report.
All right. Any questions for Chief Stewart? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Okay. Andrew. What's the 11:59 got for us? And thank you for being here.
On my notes here. Evening, Mr. President, members of the board. I have a couple updates for you. So this month we had 13 members from Local 1159 attend the Oregon State Firefighters Council Educational Conference in Salem. This year there were over 200 firefighters in attendance. The conference provided valuable training and opportunities to connect with other locals across the state. Public Safety Officer Benefits Program, also known as the PSOB, has been expanded and signed into law to include presumptive cancer as a line of duty death. So this provides a $500,000 benefit to families along with scholarship opportunities for surviving children. This is a huge win for firefighters and progress in recognizing the long-term risks of our profession. We're currently working on endorsements related to the Sandy annexation. So local, state representatives, elected officials, and we're also developing a one-pager for our members so that we can clearly communicate our support and keep everyone informed as the process moves forward. So that's all I have for you. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Brent. Volunteer Firefighters Association.
Thank you, Mr. President, and the board as well. Volunteer staffing is sponsoring the month of December. Station 74 was staffed 12 out of 31 nights, responded to 4 incidents. And again, that decrease in coverage is because of our equipment being checked and cleaned and also people using PTO at the end of the year. So rehab group responded to the 2 dispatches that were given and arrived once on scene. The water tenders responded to all 4 dispatches and had 0 arrivals. And our events was Op Santa, and so it was the 51st year of Op Santa, and we had 5 parades and 5 drop-offs, which the volunteers participated in. And because of Op Santa, we didn't have the training during the month, and so that concludes my report. If there are any questions, I'll answer them next.
So how'd it go?
The
Operation Santa.
it was great. Yeah.
We heard the Ryan version. How does the Ryan version?
Oh yeah, I mean I did a lot of the parades, and so I enjoyed it. It's a fun thing to do, and was in the van one time, and then a couple other things too. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, go back and tell your folks, thank you for that. That's important stuff. So,
Okay, will do.
yeah,
That was great.
yeah, good stuff. Okay. Anything else? Okay, very good. That's the last thing. Anybody else got anything else they want to share? Please look at the correspondence. There's some really good stuff in here. Some correspondence they put in our packet. There's some really good letters and stuff in there. Hopefully you'll take a minute to read that stuff. Our next meeting, once again, is February 3rd, work session. Is going to be at Fire Station 5 in the meeting room, starting at 8 o'clock. So be early to get sprinkled donuts or whatever it is that Chris brings us. The next board meeting, I believe, is the 16th of February, right? 23rd, okay.
How much that, or I'm gonna show up in an empty parking lot.
Yeah, so February 23rd is the next board meeting right here, 5 o'clock in this room. Looks like everybody's going to their calculator to put that in right now, so. All right. What's that? 6:01, is that we're going, it's 6:01. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah. Not a record, but a good effort.
Hey, there